How's it going, guys? So, I wanted to talk about this chart or visual that I posted to Twitter not too long ago for King of Prussia. And it's just a bunch of demographic data that goes all the way back to 1990. It's through 2020. This is decades of data. And the reason I put this out there was to just uh, let everybody know how much information can be observed at a very local level. You're talking about an area that only has a population of roughly 25,000 people. And I'm showing the housing stock, the home ownership rate, average household size by tenure, owners versus renters, even housing units per capita, the distribution and size of these households by tenure, so owner occupied versus renter occupied, and then even the population by age and even origin. And it's this is I just don't hear people talking about it, but even by just simply looking at, we'll call it the physical characteristics of the population and even households, there are so many downstream implications for even something like if you want to think about rents. But it's probably not as obvious to folks if you haven't looked at this data before, if you're just kind of unfamiliar with how we kind of measure households. And look, all of this is set up intentionally. It may look busy to you, but it's by design. So I start really up here, housing stock. So owners in blue, as you can see down here, that's what it represents. Renters in red, renter occupied. Home ownership rate has gone down. And average household size, as you can see, renters in red, homeowners in blue. And these dotted lines that you see throughout, those are just national benchmarks. So this is telling me that King of Prussia has a higher concentration of 1 and 2 person renter households. And it's about, we'll call it in line with what it looks like nationally in terms of homeowners and the size of those households. Same thing with just the age of the population itself, although it has gotten older. So at a national level, around 30% of the population is over the age of 55. So there's three main buckets here. And so under 25 is the blue various shading. So darker respective shading is just relatively older age. Prime working age is in green, and then gray is the silver tsunami, as I like to think about it. But again, we're just looking at really the physical features. But I want to talk about the financial characteristics and why even a place like King of Prussia, which has fairly good incomes on a relative basis, will have issues because it's really just the degree to which a lot of these national trends flow through these various markets. And I just want people again to be informed, or to be aware of what exists and I where my position on things comes from. It's not based on a hunch. It's actually based on looking at the data. So you may look at this and think it's very busy, but again, it's all intentional. The sizing of these various charts is just all to kind of fit as much information on this page as possible. And I'll walk you through the color scheme, which is very similar to what we saw previously. So I'll just kind of start up here. Housing stock, same thing. Blue, homeowners. Red, renters. Renters only. And then this is homeowners with and without mortgages. With is in blue, without gray. So in general, older homeowners tend to not have mortgages. I'm showing homeowners with and without mortgages by age here. But these charts, this chart, and this one show how these households are experiencing shelter costs. Um, there's also a calculation of housing units per capita that's annual here, all the way to 2023. It's back to really its high of around zero point 0.5. And we can even observe how the rate of change is really evolving for renters versus homeowners, and renter household growth is really coming down significantly. But again, there's this idea that, hey, like, you can't observe incomes where I live, and oh yes you can. And I'm telling you right now, with this chart of year over year incomes, which this is on an inflation adjusted basis, it all moves together. I don't know why that's so hard for people to believe. And you wouldn't see like various measures like rents to incomes deteriorating, stopping here at 30% plus, uh, because that's really the benchmark for being cost burden. I mean, we've round tripped since GFC. In fact, it's worse for renters in this market. And you've had a lot of this trend of young one person renter households under the age of 35 that have formed here. So now let's look at that same measure, but just for homeowners with mortgages, it's around 30% uh, are cost burdened. Here, it's a little bit less than that. And that just kind of gets back to the idea that, yes, incomes do look, albeit better here, but affordability has not improved. Otherwise, it would show up in this measure. And I'm not showing it here, but just understand that this market has had dual income households for a very, very long time. I don't know why people uh, seem to be surprised by a statement like that. They shouldn't be. And even when you look at, okay, yes, we know that this market has seen a lot of renter growth. Said another way, the home ownership rate has fallen pretty significantly. It's in like the low 50s now. Uh, in terms of the renter growth, it's like a lot of these, like, it's very biased to multifamily. We're talking about 50 plus unit structures, and now even when you observe, say, and we'll go look at that here for a second, rent estimates, and this comes from Apartment List, that they've been pretty much in no man's land since BTFP. It looked like they wanted to recover. Now it's on the verge of rolling over because people simply can't afford this reset in prices higher. It shows up again on the renter side first, and you'll see it eventually make its way over to home prices, even with active listings being, or inventory for sale being, relatively low right now. It's just an allocation problem. So, uh, yeah, this will make its way to the Northeast. It's just a matter of time, guys. So just focus on the math, and all these other SaaS products that people are pushing these days are that are really sort of tailored to the consumer and maybe to mom and pop investor types. Not I'm not talking about these like institutional type syndicator products, but like really residential real estate focused models. They're only there to sort of reinforce people's pre-existing bias, and they're in no way do they constitute a due diligence on their own, and it's no substitute for really adequate market research. So folks of us who have been saying, hey, like, you need to look at permitting, mortgages, employment, the whole gamut, and you need to do that locally and benchmark it and compare it over a long time period, you can do that. And you may not like what you see, but it's just kind of better to know than not know. I think people just really need to remove their ego from the equation. And yeah, so anyway, that's all I got. Have a good one.